Good evening to you all, and a very warm welcome from me and from my team. Tonight is about providing you with an insight into what I think makes our sixth form a place where all young people can thrive and be best prepared for the future ahead of them. I'm very aware that there are many choices facing you as parents and students, but I hope that by the end of this evening, not only will you feel well informed, but also encouraged and excited by the prospect of a Cranleighan experience. Now, whilst I'm going to provide some key headlines, I actually want this webinar to do more than just provide information. I think it's much more interesting and insightful to hear from those who experience the action on the front line, as it were. So you're actually going to be hearing mostly from some of our current year 13s, and then there will be an opportunity on the back of that for you to ask questions to the leadership team. And we will end with some information on scholarships too. I'm genuinely very proud to be head of Cranleigh Senior School and to be able to sit here and have these key headlines showing now. We are a very young sixth form, but our outcomes show that we have really hit the ground running and that our students are facilitated to achieve grades which open multiple doors for them. A quarter of our students from last year achieved a grade set of A's and A stars, and every student secured a place at their university of choice. And if you may indulge me here, I'm going to use this platform as a chance to champion our current year 13s who, despite the upheaval of all this remote learning, they've all completed their UCAS forms and most other countries' university applications, and they're already receiving offers from top universities such as MIT, NYU Abu Dhabi, Liverpool for veterinary science, UCL, Manchester. I could go on, and it's really lovely to know that they have this as a confidence boost. Our EPQ programme is also something of which we are particularly proud, and the news just in only last week was that our current year 13s, again I'm going to champion them here, have toppled last year's results, which were excellent in themselves, but they've achieved even better, with 86% of the cohort gaining an A or A star. Later you're going to hear a little bit more about the EPQ, and I hope you'll have a sense of why we do invest much energy into the qualification. I think something that enables all our students to thrive is the size of our sixth form. Students are very much individuals at Cranleigh, and at whatever stage you join, we get to know you. Building relationships, it's a huge mantra of ours, and tutors, teachers, middle and senior leaders all know our sixth formers really well, and therefore we know when to step in or perhaps even to step back. But like I said, I can tell you a lot about the headlines on the slide, but I know it's much more credible if it comes from the students themselves. So I'm actually going to pause on this information and I'm going to move on to spotlight the British curriculum. I'm going to say now that I'm not neutral. I really do believe that the depth, not breadth approach of the British curriculum is hugely advantageous. To those of you who are perhaps unfamiliar with the British system, our programme of study is 2 years. Students will select 3 or 4 subjects to study in depth over years 12 and 13. The vast majority of our subjects are the A-level or advanced level qualification, but we have also introduced some BTEC qualifications, which are a great addition for students who perhaps enjoy project-based learning or who have a particular passion for business, enterprise, or sport and sports science. One of the key advantages for me with regards to A-levels is that it enables students to create a programme of study that really suits them and allows them to actually play to their strengths. They can select subjects that they genuinely enjoy, and over 2 years they become immersed in topics of study at really quite a sophisticated level. For students who are interested in STEM-related degrees at university, I think being able to specialise in subjects like maths, further maths, physics, for example, it means they arrive at university at a level that students of other curriculums may not have on account of having been spread a little more thinly. It's even the case that gaining an A-level qualification in a subject such as physics or chemistry means that students going to US universities may be entitled to receive credit for the 101, that introductory module for that subject. I think the final thing I want to mention is the question I'm often asked: should you take 3 or 4 A-levels? And for me, it's quite simple. I'm very much about quality, not quantity. If we're thinking crudely about grade set and university applications, a student who presents as a 3 A or A star grade student has a better profile, I should say, than a student who presents as a 4-grade student, but where that grade set is diluted. However, having said that, if a student can cope and can enjoy the demands of a 4 A-level programme, then that's great, and we will fully provide for and support students for whom this is appropriate. I suppose my main message on this subject is don't be swayed that more is better. What is best is tailoring a programme of study that is most suitable for that student's capabilities and future aspirations. And I hope that what you'll hear next will help demonstrate that Cranleigh can do just that, enable our youngsters to be the very best of themselves. So I'm going to hand over to Jo Lee now. Jo is Director of Performing Arts and a Senior School Leader, and she will lead a conversation with some of our Year 13 students. So thank you, Jo, and over to you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And as Lara said before, we felt that it would be far better for you to hear from our own pupils rather than hearing from the staff. We do, of course, invite you to put questions into the chat, be it on YouTube or the Facebook link that you are following, and we will address those with the members of staff at the end. First of all, I would like to invite Jayden, our head boy, to talk to you about the academic process. Welcome, Jayden. Please, will you describe the process you have followed in selecting your programme of study for sixth form?
Thank you, Miss Lee, and well, good evening, everybody. Well, I'll start by saying that I have been very fortunate to have had the support and the tools from Cranleigh. And by doing so, this allowed me to have a very informed decision on my A-level subjects. And briefly, just to outline some of these tools that we had, one of them was the taster session in Year 11 for all subjects, as well as Cranleigh hosting an options evening. We also had one-to-one meetings with our tutors, subject teachers, and head of careers, and just kind of having that dialogue and the way you want your career to go is just so beneficial. I also recall that I had an enrollment interview on the first day of Year 12, an excellent opportunity, just for me to ask detailed questions about the specific subject that I was interested in at the time. Also, during this interview, we spoke about my GCSE results and whether my aspirations for my A-levels were achievable and the goals I needed to set in order to meet my self-made targets. So personally, I chose economics, biology, and chemistry. And although these subjects seem quite random, for me personally, I like the mix between science and philosophy. This is because, I initially wanted to study medicine. However, through my studies of economics and other factors in my life, I realized my real passion was within reasoning, debate, and philosophy. Therefore, now I aspire to take a degree in philosophy, politics, and economics.
That's fantastic, Jayden. Just talk us through the decision, the bright boy that you are. Why did you choose 3 rather than 4 A-levels?
Well, 4 A-levels, may seem quite daunting. For me, I enjoyed having 3 subjects that I really cared about. And, when you first take, you have the option to take 4 A-levels at the beginning. However, I chose not to because I enjoyed my 3 subjects thoroughly and I wanted to achieve the goals I set for those subjects specifically. And I didn't want another subject that I didn't feel passionate about weighing me down. However, some students may feel the breadth of subjects is what suits them. And that's completely up to them. And, there are targets that you need to meet in term 1 in order to maintain 4 A-levels. But for me personally, I enjoyed the subjects that I was taking, and that's what I was passionate about.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. And I think also it's given you the opportunity to take on the responsibility of being head boy as well and to lead that. Would you agree?
Completely.
Excellent. Jayden, there's a very different approach to studying at A-level than there is at GCSE. Tell us some of the differences that you have experienced between the transition from Year 11 to Year 12 and Year 13.
So I experienced a major difference between the teaching methods at GCSE and then at A-levels. So at A-levels, we're introduced to the Harkness style of teaching. And this is essentially where we're given the material prior to the lesson. And that meant we had to pre-read and cover the material in advance. So at the time of the lesson, we'd be prepared and allow us to have in-depth discussions. And this personally not only allowed me to understand the topics in detail, but it improved my debating skills. And this is because we're constantly encouraged to participate and collaborate with the students. And overall, it's just a fun way of learning. But the major difference for me personally is how the principles we learn are actually applied to the real world. And once you kind of make these connections, the subject matter is much more understandable. Also, we're in smaller groups, which again is a major advantage. So we're essentially receiving one-to-one tutor time, and hence we're getting regular and detailed feedback on all the assessments. And this either came in the form of just tutor time or discussions or emails.
Fantastic, Jaden, thank you. I was going to ask you about the average class size and how you feel that that's impacted on your learning. Is there anything else you'd like to add there?
Well, so the average class size is about 6 to 7 students. And I can't emphasize this enough, but it was a huge advantage. Like I just said, we were essentially receiving one-to-one tutor time and hence getting, regular and detailed feedback. And this feedback is individualized and focused, which allowed me to improve much quicker than I normally would, because I'm focusing on the mistakes I made rather than the general class mistakes. Also, during our lessons, the discussions would be much more focused and allow everybody to participate. Like I saw some students who normally do not talk so much in lessons, but given the class size is smaller, they felt much more comfortable to contribute in the discussions, which is just great to see.
Thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about your EPQ or extended project qualification.
It's funny, at the start, I wasn't actually sure the EPQ would benefit me personally. However, after having completed it, I can say that it has essentially changed my career path. So I previously said I was driven on the goal to study medicine due to factors such as family and not really knowing what else to do. However, the EPQ was one of the most significant factors that helped me realize what I wanted to do, changing my career path completely. And I really hope that highlights the significance that the EPQ can have. And for context, my project was about the regulation of anabolic steroids. However, as I progressed, I changed my stance from science to a more philosophical view on the topic. And this allowed me to receive reduced offers from my universities I applied to, universities such as Nottingham, Manchester, and University of York. Also, during this EPQ, you are allowed to choose a teacher support or a mentor. Me personally, I chose Mr. McConnell Wood. And we together, we built our project, and it was one of the most significant things in my life.
That's just fantastic to hear. Thank you so, so much. So final question for you, Jaden. Talk to us about the academic clinics and the enrichment opportunities that are offered to support you in addition to what you've already told us.
Again, I'm very fortunate to say that Cranleigh has offered me so many opportunities during my time, not only in sixth form, but since I was here in year 7. And, I'll start by saying the academic clinics in term 2 for each year. I'm currently going through this process as I'm nearing my exams, but, these are very focused lessons, which were around exam techniques. And I just found this as a huge benefit. It allowed me to cement everything that we had learned in the past, but also concentrating on how to answer typical exam questions, which, I personally struggle with. The school also provides other opportunities such as Model United Nations and subject trips, which help not only to make your university applications more holistic, but on a personal level, these help you become a more diversified individual, building, your portfolio for life outside of Cranleigh.
Fantastic, Jaden. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Thank you very much. We would now like to move on to talk about careers and futures. And here we have Lydia, who is our deputy head girl, who is going to speak to us about that. Lydia, before you talk to us about careers and futures, you were new to Cranleigh Sixth Form. You arrived into year 12. Just give us a little bit of an insight into how that has been for you.
Of course. Thank you, Miss Lee, and good evening, everyone. At the beginning of year 12, I was this new student in Cranleigh. And from the very first day, I have felt the welcoming and encouraging nature of the community, both from the sides of the students, but also the teachers, who are constantly pushing and challenging me during the rigor of my A-levels, but also through these opportunities and experiences that I have been extremely privileged to have been a part of. And I am truly grateful for Cranleigh for all that it has provided me. And this year, as deputy head girl, it's my opportunity to give back to a school that has helped me so much through this journey.
Thank you, Lydia. That's so lovely to hear. Tell us now about your experience specifically with Careers and Futures programme at Cranleigh.
Of course. Firstly, I would like to outline an integral part of Careers and Futures, which is the work experience element. Everyone is encouraged to take an aspect of work experience to immerse yourself in the day-to-day life of a professional in a career that you want to explore, as that will give you an insight into something that you would like to develop in the future. For me, this included my experience as an intern in the Emirates Diplomatic Academy, in which I received one-to-one sessions with professors, and I was able to explore deep topics such as politics, economics, and history to really drive and cement my future career choice and university options. And I can now say, reflecting up on it, that it was an amazing experience being able to see how these professors have developed both in their research but also areas of academia, which have inspired me. And another work experience that I was able to take part of was as an IRENA student trainee, in which I attended assembly and council sessions and helped to set up these meetings and talk to government representatives about the importance of renewable energy. And this work experience actually gave rise to my participation in the inaugural Youth Forum, in which, as the youngest participant at the age of 17, I was proud to be selected as the youth representative, in which I delivered the outcomes of this forum in a speech in front of 1,500 people, ranging from ministers, government representatives, and government officials. And during this opening ceremony, I stressed the fact that as youth, we want to continue on this change and promote renewables together. And just last week, I was proud once again to make an intervention at the second IRENA Youth Forum, where I encouraged youth to continue on this path and to collaborate. And these experiences would have never been possible because of the support that Cranleigh has given me, which has actually helped me to find a genuine passion of promoting renewable energy, not only in my community, but also in an international level, and something that I want to continue to strive for in the future as my career path.
Wowza. Thank you so much, Lydia. That is hugely impressive. For those of us who are less familiar with IRENA, just give us a few lines about what IRENA is and the context of it, and how this linked to your EPQ project.
Of course. IRENA is the International Renewable Energy Agency, and it's an intergovernmental organization which aims to promote the use of renewable energy for all. It's based in Abu Dhabi, and it hosts its annual council and assembly sessions every year. And one of Cranleigh's partnerships has allowed us to be student trainees in this program, in which we were active volunteers during this platform, but also gave us an opportunity to be part of the inaugural Youth Forum, which is something so life-changing, which is continuing to be done even today in remote situations. Inspired by the fruitful discussions that I was able to take part in this Youth Forum, I actually based my EPQ on a similar project, in which I aim to explore the macroeconomic impacts of renewable energy here in the UAE. And it is a genuine passion because I've been able to explore not only the research side of an EPQ and really dive deep into the economic policies and how that can have a multiplier effect positively here in the UAE, but also give way to a genuine and deep passion within me to strive for greater change in an international setting. And I am honestly really proud of what I have done and thankful for Cranleigh of giving me that opportunity to experience firsthand the power of renewables and put that on paper in an academic research paper.
Thank you, Lydia. We are incredibly proud of you. Final question. Tell us how your career sessions have prepared you for university and the next step.
Of course. Our weekly Careers and Future sessions are an integral part to helping us cement our future and helping us to find a pathway which we are truly passionate about. So the support that we range comes from participants' sessions, talking with university representatives, one-to-ones with our tutors and our careers advisors, but also application workshops to help us on presenting the best part about ourselves for university and creating a holistic picture. And I think these sessions are an amazing way to find what we are truly passionate about, what we want to explore further, and how we want to take that on board into university. And it is thanks to this that I am proud to say today that I will be accepting my offer to study at New York University in Abu Dhabi next year, where I plan to major in economics and political science. And I could have never done it without the constant support and motivation of Cranleigh, which has helped me to find this path of opportunities and experiences, all because of that holistic approach to learning.
Wow, thank you so much, Lydia, for sharing your experience with us. Really appreciate it. And I think I speak for everybody who's listening when we are, truly bowled over by such a young lady who is so incredibly articulate. A tough act to follow, but I think Liz Kelleher, our Assistant Head of Senior and Careers Advisor, will be able to do it justice by telling us about the new sixth form core curriculum. Over to you, Liz.
A tough act to follow indeed, Jo. Thank you. And thank you, Lydia. It's always lovely to hear about you and all of our sixth formers' journeys. With this in mind, I'm delighted to introduce to you our new sixth form core curriculum, a new programme for the coming academic year. This builds upon the foundations already in place as part of our current sixth form offering, as our students have been speaking about already this evening. Our intention is to formalise this offering into a core curriculum of study to ensure a holistic and immersive experience for all of our students, preparing them fully for life after Cranleigh. The broad areas of focus will be the EPQ, as we've been speaking about already, work experience, careers and futures, global awareness and citizenship, along with personal and social development. We feel these core modules will give students the opportunity to focus on developing their way of thinking about and interacting with the world, so that they're both prepared for and, of course, excited about their future. Our work experience and careers and futures models, as Lydia has said, are already very well developed as part of our sixth form offering currently, where students engage actively with and explore future opportunities available to them. The extended project qualification gives students the opportunity to develop their research, critical thinking, and academic writing skills, all so important in preparing students to take the next steps towards university. These currently offered modules are those which Lydia has already so eloquently exemplified. Our intention is to build on this foundation and to learn from the experiences of our students, such as Lydia and her peers, so that we offer a dynamic and innovative programme that meets the future needs of all of our sixth formers. The new Global Awareness and Citizenship module and the new Personal and Social Development models will take the form of a thought course exploring topics like politics, environmental awareness, personal financing, economic development, and personal and physical well-being. We believe a core programme focusing on all of these aspects of the students' development will allow them to leave Cranleigh sixth form as well-rounded, holistically educated and globally aware young adults.
Thank you so much, Liz. I think for all the parents out there who I can say for myself, we had not experienced a sixth form quite like this one when we were at school. What very, very lucky young adults are coming. So on to our module about the pastoral side, and I would like to welcome Malik, who is one of our senior prefects and also the head of the Wellbeing Committee. So Malik, can you tell us about how you felt when you first joined Cranleigh?
Yeah, of course. Good evening, everyone, for starters. How I felt. I was extremely excited, as Cranleigh has always been a huge life goal for me, but I was also really nervous, as any other new student would be. I remember really, really well my first day of school. I walked right into the school, and the head girl at the time was standing in front of the door. She introduced herself, asked me what year I was, and showed me the exact way I needed to take to get to my class. And as soon as I got to my class, my tutor and headmaster introduced themselves to me, let me know that I can come to them if I needed absolutely anything. And then I sat with my classmates, who were all extremely friendly, and we immediately started to talk. And in a few minutes, I felt like I belonged there. Meeting my classmates, though, was no problem, stress-wise, as before my official first day of school, I attended what is called Induction Day, where all soon-to-be sixth formers were introduced to what Cranleigh sixth form is. So Cranleigh's values, goals, skills, EPQ, and A-levels. And within that, we also underwent bonding activities, so that removed the stress of meeting all my classmates in the official first day of school.
Lovely, thank you so much. And now tell us about, you mentioned your tutor and your housemaster. How have these people helped you on your sixth form journey?
Yeah. So as I said, since my first day of school, my housemaster and tutor introduced themselves to me and let me know that I could talk to them if I needed absolutely anything. And I can most certainly say that they have been one of the most supportive people in my life throughout my sixth form journey. Our tutors arrange regular one-to-ones with us, which is not very hard as our tutor groups are extremely small, which ensures a stronger connection between the student and the tutor, and also allows the tutor just to be able to focus on individuals more. And disregarding the setup one-to-ones, you could just send them a quick email and if you needed absolutely anything, and they would drop everything to listen to you. And I've experienced that, trust me. I've also seen my housemaster put a lot of effort into getting to know me better as a new student and always using opportunities whenever she sees me around school to catch up and see if I needed anything. And it would always end up in her cheering me up and making me feel listened to and important. And I've had interactions with all the other housemasters, and I can confirm that they have all shown me nothing but kindness. So this certainly goes not only for my own housemaster, but for all the other housemasters.
Thank you so much. Very loyal and open-minded to all the housemasters, not showing any favoritism there, Malik. Thank you. Final question to you. Tell us about the pastoral program at Cranleigh and how this has helped you develop both as a learner and a young adult.
Yeah. So there are so many things put in place by Cranleigh to allow students to flourish, not only academically, but personally. And in addition to the moral education program, where we discuss things like ethics, identity, and our role towards our community, Cranleigh has a program called Current Affairs, where we discuss the topics that have been the news headlines of the week. So this has helped me stay in touch with events taking place globally and has shown me the importance of that. And so every news headlines, there are debatable questions, and the debates that happen during the sessions just allow me to think about things in ways I have never before and discover the perspectives of the people around me. And it's always nice to see that. I'm also a science student myself, so it's just really nice to just listen to a politics or economics debate every once in a while. It really educates you even outside the subjects you have chosen, and that is always really good. The school also places a huge emphasis on well-being, and as head of the well-being committee myself, I can confirm that. I can strongly assure you that you will be taken care of. In addition to promoting healthy living habits to students and the importance of them, we make sure that the importance of mental well-being is also promoted. And we do this through many events. For example, this year we started a Smash the Stigma movement, where we encourage students to speak up about their mental health, destigmatize it, so students are never afraid or ashamed to speak up if they experience poor mental health. The school has also ensured to make strong connections between the students in senior school. For example, last year we had a program called Creative Futures, where all members of senior school were put into groups. So each group would have all years in it. And we used a range of skills to create things that we could put in a time capsule for future generations to see. So this allowed students to see which skill they enjoyed the most and felt the strongest about, and then they could make career decisions based on that. The program was very, very successful. It created very strong bonds between senior school members and helped a large number of us determine our future careers. The Wellbeing Committee right now is also working on a buddying system where each student will be set a student from the year above to talk to them if they needed anything. It could be a chat about coping with friendship problems, with subject problems, or even just being helped to pick their A-levels or GCSEs. But each student will have an older student they could turn to if they needed absolutely anything. So I do strongly believe that Cranleigh focuses on helping your child develop in all aspects and makes sure that they're taken care of mentally and physically.
Thank you so much, Malik, and thank you for everything that you do in the Wellbeing Committee from your side to keep us all in a really positive place. Thank you so much. Our final pupil to talk to us this evening is our head girl, Taya, who we are inviting to talk to us about life at Cranleigh in the round for sixth form. So tell us, Taya, what's it like to be in the sixth form at Cranleigh?
Well, what I enjoy about the sixth form in Cranleigh is that it's always been more than a purely academic space. It's about preparing us for the future while still allowing us to get the most out of our school experience. This thought is driven by how each individual is valued for what makes them unique. Whatever your speciality is, Cranleigh will cater it, and that is because there's a large focus on presenting opportunities for the students. If you're interested in performing arts, we have a choir, a school musical that's currently being organized, as well as an excellent music department for whatever instrument you love playing. If you're more of a sports person, we have a variety of team sports available. And I myself have been part of the netball and football team, as well as playing table tennis, badminton, touch rugby, and more. Everyone is able to make a contribution to the school. And one of the ways which the sixth form promotes involvement of every student is the wide range of leadership positions available. With this, you're able to make an impact where you feel you can work at your best, whether it is being head of a committee, such as charity or well-being, or being head of the common room and having a more general view over how things are run within the sixth form building. Either way, you'll be able to make your own individual impact on the sixth form community, and at the same time develop yourself in order to be more prepared for your future.
Thank you so much, Taya. Tell us, what will you remember most about your time at Cranleigh?
Well, for me, the people are what make Cranleigh a community rather than just another school. And the positive environment and memories created by those people are what I will remember the most. Now, this year, there may not have been as many opportunities for interaction between the year 12s and 13s. However, I remember when I was in year 12 and how there was interaction and support within the entire sixth form, not just in small individual friend groups. I have had so many opportunities to work with my peers in different settings. And an example would be working together as a house during the house assemblies and different house competitions. These situations allow us to have healthy competition with one another, while still emphasizing the idea of working together in order to lift each other up. I've also created memories as part of the Eco Committee last year, as the committees within Cranleigh allow for discussions around different project ideas, and most importantly, following through on the plans which are made. I could go on and on about different examples of experiences I've had. However, the bottom line is the focus on working together and showing how collaboration allows for big projects to be completed with relative ease and, most importantly, fun.
Thank you so much. Final question to you. What would you say to anybody thinking about joining Cranleigh Sixth Form?
The main thing I would say to someone joining the sixth form would be to take the opportunities that are given to you. Our sixth form focuses on building each person as a whole. And although academics will always be a central part of your educational career, whilst you're still in school, you have the freedom to figure out what you want and what you enjoy. Now, this is not completely taken away once you graduate. However, you have no better time than now to try as much as you can. At the end of the day, either you found something which you realize isn't your thing, or you have a new experience which you'll remember for the rest of your life. Having been in several different schools throughout my life, I can confidently say that when it comes to creating opportunities, Cranleigh is second to none.
And I think that's where we will leave the discussion with the pupils. Thank you so much for your time to all of our pupils this evening. We now hand back to Lara Dale to introduce the question and answer session.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you to our Year 13s. I shouldn't be surprised by our sixth formers' poise and their ability to articulate themselves as well as they do, because this really isn't a one-off. And whilst the Year 13s that you have seen today, they're certainly excellent ambassadors for us, I am confident to say that they are also representative of our sixth form student body as a whole. I hope there are many of our current Year 11 students in the audience tonight, because I know that you already demonstrate the characteristics which we value, and we want to help you to continue to develop going into sixth form. So we have some questions coming in on the chat, which I'm going to start to invite members of the leadership team onto screen to answer. Just to say now, after the Q&A session, the principal, Mike Wilson, will come on and talk about our scholarships, and then we'll close the webinar. So we'll get started on the questions. I think the first question coming in on the chat is on the topic of choosing A-level subjects. And I'm going to ask Matt McNaught to address this question, please. And the question is, Matt, when would students in year 11 start using various tools and having in-depth discussions with teachers in order to decide their A-levels?
Thanks, Ms. Allen. Good evening, everyone. This process has already started in terms of selecting and thinking about selecting A-level subjects. I think Malik spoke very well about our pastoral system, and one of the real pros of our pastoral system being our students having one-to-one and regular one-to-one meetings with their tutors. So these conversations will have already started in those one-to-one meetings with their tutors, as well as with their subject teachers. We'll also look to offer taster sessions in term 2, where students will take samples of what they're considering at sixth form. In these taster sessions, they'll be able to look at their subjects, and they'll also be able to talk to students in year 12 and 13 who are currently taking those subjects. That's for our internal students. For external students, on our website, we have a prospectus that outlines all of the A-level courses that we offer and the syllabus that go along with those.
Thank you, Matt. And the next question coming in, I'm going to ask Liz Kelleher to come back on screen, please. This is about work experience. And the question for you, Liz, is the school facilitating work experiences, or is it the student who has to find those opportunities?
The reality is, currently, there are two answers to that question. Under normal circumstances, of course, we facilitate, in particular year 12, the work experience. It's a pivotal part of our program. It's a 20-week program where we use partnership organizations that have worked with us since the opening of our sixth form, like NYU, as Lydia mentioned, the Emirates Diplomatic Academy, ADIA, PwC, SAB, the list goes on, like really high-level organizations that understand our program and give our students the opportunity they're seeking for. So under normal circumstances, absolutely. Under current circumstances, as has been mentioned in the question, it is quite difficult to get students into organizations, much like we can't get students into school currently because of the restrictions we face. So what I encourage all students to do is engage with virtual work experience and virtual careers experience. And the advice that I would give to all parents and students in the audience is please do not allow current circumstances stress you out in terms of the impact on your application. All students in the world are facing the same scenario, and the universities are consistently giving counsellors the same message. Students who find opportunity in adversity are the students who will be successful in application, and that's exactly what we do at Cranleigh. We support that.
Thank you, Liz. We've got a question coming up about EPQ, which is definitely one for Rory Gallagher. So Rory's going to come onto screen now, I think. Rory, the question about EPQ is a little bit about the structure, and I think perhaps if you can talk the audience through how we deliver our EPQ, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Lara. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And first of all, let me say a big congratulations to our Year 13s, obviously the ones who've shown themselves in such a great light this evening, but all of them for doing so well in our EPQ this year. So the structure is in Year 12, all of our students do the EPQ. In the first term, we have a taught course where we go through workshops on critical thinking, research skills, and introduce to them all the skills they will need to complete the project. And indeed, the skills that they will be using at university. I think that's one of the main things to say about the EPQ. It is to prepare students for their life at university, not just to get the qualification. Then in the second and third terms of the Year 12, they'll be working independently with the support of a supervisor to complete their projects. And I'll also be supporting them with workshops when they need it on particular aspects of creating the artifact or dissertation that they might be doing. So that's the overall approach we're going for, that all our students do this not only to get the qualification, but perhaps above all to get the skills, academic skills they need, not only for A-levels, but for the future at university.
Thank you, Rory. The next question, it's also very obvious who I'm going to be directing this to. Joe, this one is about performing arts, and it simply is asking what Cranleigh offers sixth form students in terms of performing arts.
Well, we've always been very proud of the performing arts that we offer at Cranleigh, and in the sixth form, that is no exception. We have done senior musicals. We are currently staging a virtual version of Les Miserables, where some of our sixth formers have taken on lead roles within that, which we're very, very excited about. And in what we would refer to as normal times, there would also be various house competitions. We have the Cranleigh Factor. We have various different opportunities, choirs, dance companies, different performances, different workshops, really emphasize on the transferable skills that pupils can develop within performing arts and then take on, especially towards their university applications. So the list is substantial in terms of what we offer, and we are very excited about the enthusiasm that our senior students show, as well as setting the bar high for our younger pupils to follow in their footsteps.
Thank you, Jo. And a question coming up for you, Matt, on teaching and learning in the sixth form. The question is, how has teaching and learning of sixth form subjects changed in light of current circumstances?
Thanks, Mr. I think the obvious one there is the improvement in digital literacy and the change in our use of digital literacy. If I think back to the beginning of our journey in this circumstance, none of our sixth form teachers had iPads. Now all of our sixth form teachers have iPads, MacBook Pros, and if you see them, you drop into those virtual lessons, they often have a monitor as well. So there's 3 devices going. What our sixth form teachers have been able to do is a real credit to them. In a short time, we actually have upwards of 130 teachers Apple certified in the school, and also a large number with their Google training as well. So digitally, we've made huge improvements. For our students, the teachers are at their fingertips. The platforms that we're using allow them to interact faster and more frequently with their teachers. We're still using our Harkness method, but with digital platforms. So we're trying to replicate what they would experience with university. They can rewatch lessons. They're given material prior to lessons, and they're able to control what they access and when they access it.
Thank you, Matt. We've got another question coming in that I'm going to ask Liz to answer, please. And this question is about students selecting A-levels. If you've selected A-levels at the end of year 11, but when you get into year 12 and you start the A-level programme, you realise that your career path has perhaps changed and you may want to change subjects, is this possible?
The short answer is yes, but very early on in term 1. But it's important to note as well that we have quite a rigorous process in place to ensure that students are choosing options that are both diverse enough to keep options open, but also tailored to their needs. We've had students often change their career path, which is perfectly normal. So please don't worry about selecting options in year 11. There's loads of flexibility as we move into year 12. And a big part of our programme is that ongoing dialogue with students. I've heard it said before by some of our students that we sometimes know them better than they know themselves. And that's the real testament to our small year group sizes, that we have that capacity to really get to know the students. So the short answer is yes, we can work with students to make sure that they are on the correct pathway.
Thank you, Liz. We have a question, please, for Jo. And this question is asking, will there be opportunities in performance arts outside school in the sixth form? And perhaps what is the offering of performing arts at Cranleigh next year?
Yes, absolutely. So we are, the majority of offerings in terms of performing arts are indeed extracurricular. There are A-level options that can be taken. We have, however, beyond the A-level specification, we have EPQ. We have a number of pupils who will use their EPQ to explore performances. You don't just have to write a dissertation. We have pupils who will create different opportunities. So there's that side of things. But then in the pure sense of the extracurricular side, we'll definitely have shows. We will have workshops. We will have assuming that things open up a little bit, we often have theatre trips. At the moment, because of restrictions, we're doing our virtual musical and bringing everybody together online. We are also members of Pretzel Theatre, which is an international digital theatre company where we create pieces of drama and then send those to our counterparts in various different countries around the world, and then they respond, and then we watch their performances and respond back. And it's what's really lovely is also seeing the opportunity for the sixth formers to take on leadership roles within that. Malik referred to Creative Futures, where we were enjoying this project. This was one of our lockdown projects that we did back in May. And it was a fantastic opportunity for everybody to come together and to work in a whole range of different disciplines, but really emphasizing the transferable skills that I was talking about before. And this becomes so exciting because you have the extracurricular side, you have your EPQ options, you have different projects that will emerge, you have house competitions and different house events. And I think it was Miss Kelleher who said that when she very first arrived at the school, one member of staff said to her, the kids in Cranleigh, all the sixth formers, they dance, they sing, they do everything. And she was a little skeptical about this until she went and spoke to the sixth formers herself. And they went, yeah, miss, yeah, absolutely. You wait till the end of term. You wait till Cranleigh Factor, then you'll see. And she did. So yes, plenty to be offered both within and beyond the curriculum.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to Liz, please, with a question about deadlines for A-levels, choosing A-levels. So it is simply, when is the deadline for choosing A-levels?
I'm still laughing at Joe's response there, and the phrase "everybody dances" will stick with me, I think, for the rest of my career. And it's true, everybody, including the staff, dance at Cranleigh. Yes, for A-levels, again, like I've said, we have quite a bit of flexibility in choices. Towards the end of term 2, for our year 11 students, they'll do what we call a straw poll. That's to give us an idea of where areas of interest are so that we can start building the curriculum to prepare for that, and ensure that our staffing meets the needs also. Following that, then in term 3, we'll have students make more secure decisions, but obviously they still haven't received their GCSE grades, which is a big part of that A-level choice as well. So we continue with the flexibility, moving right through the summer to the start of year 13 or year 12. Some students do choose to start on 4 A-levels for September because they still haven't really narrowed down what choices they are. Some of them are choosing new subjects like psychology or economics that they haven't taken at GCSE. So they want to get a real feel for what the subject is about before they make that all-important decision, which we truly support. And we allow students to do that to make sure that they're making the right decision. And again, as I've said before, we ensure the structure is in place to help the students make those decisions and be flexible up until around the end of September to get them on the right pathway.
Thank you, Liz. I'm going to go over to Matt now, please. There's a question coming in about the A-level qualifications and whether they're divided into AS and A-levels as 2 separate degrees is the question. Perhaps you can give some more clarity on the A-level programme in general and offered by us at Cranleigh.
Thank you. Yeah, we offer A-levels, which are a 2-year course. We have explored the options of offering AS, but this year we are currently offering A-level courses, and we'll be looking to do that again in the coming academic year. The details of these courses, again, they can be found on the website in our brochure, and I believe we'll post a link to that in the chat for you.
Thank you. Just reading, the questions are coming in live as we speak. There's a question coming in. Is there a minimum mark on IGCSE in order to be allowed into A-level? So this is about the selection criteria for A-levels and what is appropriate for you to study this subject. I think I'm going to go to Liz for this question, please.
Sure, absolutely. And as you'll see in our sixth form guide, that we do have guide grades for students to enter A-levels. It's always recommended for A-level because of the rigor of the course, and it's always important for parents and students to remember an A-level is roughly 3 times as difficult as than a GCSE. So bear that in mind. If you found it tough at GCSE, it's going to be 3 times as hard at A-level. So we do recommend a minimum grade of a 7 for a chosen subject at A-level. But most importantly, students should always choose subjects that they enjoy as their measure for choice.
Thank you, Liz. And I'm going to ask you to stay on because there's a question being asked about GPA results. And with your university application hats on and knowledge of the US college system, I think you're best placed to answer this. Will there be GPA results offered when applying for US universities in sixth form?
Again, the short answer to this is no, but this is for a very important reason. US universities don't actually allow British curriculum schools convert for GPA because there has been disparities on the university side from schools and how their conversion happens. So they actually rather that we report the A-level grades to them and then they convert based on their own grade scale. It actually can be very disadvantageous to students if their school is converting to GPA. So do bear that in mind as a caveat. If you are exploring schools who do convert to GPA, that can be disadvantageous. So that's why we as a school do not convert for GPA, and it hasn't disadvantaged any of our students. If anything, it has actually helped them spotlight their stellar grades that they've achieved.
Thanks, Liz. And Matt, a question for you about the structure of A-level courses at Cranleigh. What is the difference in course structure in year 12 and year 13?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we offer A-levels, which are a 2-year course. In terms of structure, we're working in a linear fashion through the courses. There's no real difference in the structure of what we're offering across those 2 years. We progress through the content across the 2 years to end with our terminal exams in the summer.
Thank you. I'm aware that there are a lot of questions still coming in on the chat, but I'm also mindful of the time. So I think I'm going to draw the question and answer session to a close. But I do want to say that for any remaining questions, please don't hesitate to get in contact with admissions. I'm hoping the slide is going to come back up on the screen and we'll give you all the details for you to get back in touch with the school. If you get in touch with admissions with those questions, someone from my team or I will get in touch with you and talk to you in person and take you through any remaining queries. Before we finish, I want to hand over to the principal, to Mike Wilson, who's going to come on to provide some information on scholarships and will provide some final words to close tonight's webinar. So over to Mike Wilson, please.
Thank you, and thanks to everybody involved and to the people who've joined us. I'm actually going to go off script. I think my colleagues hate when I do this. I'm a product of an education system that I think went badly wrong in the 90s. We started to teach people for exams. We forgot that we were just a part of a journey for children of that age. And one of the great things about being involved in a project like this from the beginning is I have been able to try and do something about it. And I just want to focus on a couple of things that I think new schools across the world, but in particular, what I think we've done at Cranleigh. Firstly, we've stuck very, very closely with Cranleigh UK. We do a lot of interaction with them because they have 150 years worth of experience, and it's lovely to have somebody to converse with. The second thing is we've focused on skills. I'm a former professional sportsman. I didn't find school particularly easy because I was playing international sport, but the skills that I learned at school were transferable. And in the 80s and 90s, we lost that fact. Now, what we've done with our curriculum at Cranleigh, particularly the curriculum from year 3 to year 9, which is where I think it goes badly wrong, is we focused on those skills. So when Liz talks about the careers program, those skills are embedded in the careers program. When we talk about our extracurricular program, we write skill-based reports. Now, what we've seen is a group of children moving through Cranleigh, and I just want to highlight a couple of things. GCSE results: 50%, 73%, 79%, 7 to 9s. Last 2 years, best in town, or best in the city. Why? Because we focused on the skills and the result became a byproduct. When you talk about A-level, 2 sets of A-level results, 63% A-stars A's, up to 73% within a year. The same thing with the EPQs. And I think it's because the pupils are getting engaged. Now, focusing particularly on the sixth form. Our sixth form is set up like a university. We are very much going for the, if you like, the bespoke, the niche. We don't want to get too big. We want to maintain relationships. We want the pupils to be in touch with adults. We don't want the adults driving the pupils. We want them guiding them. They have their own legacy garden to relax in. They have social areas. They have a specific building with work areas. And the teaching isn't facing the front and a board. The teaching is around a table, looking at each other and interacting. And that's really, really important because we are part of that journey towards university. We're not mass producing. So when I see what the pupils do and the opportunities, I'm looking at people transferring skills. Now, obviously, I've been asked to talk about scholarship. I would point you towards the website. There's a lot of information on scholarship, but I just want to say a little bit about the theory of scholarship. 20, 30 years ago, a young golfer called Tiger Woods hit the golfing scene. He won the Masters by about 9 strokes, and all the others in his cohort had to look at him and say, wow, he's good. And what they did over the years is they gradually got better because of the example that he showed. And so when they overtook him, what's been fascinating, injuries, etc., is he came again. And that's what we're looking at in scholarship. I'm looking for people that will lead the charge. I'm looking for people that will set the example. So we're going to do a few things differently this year. Firstly, very difficult to decide how we're going to assess. If we're face-to-face, it'll be pretty much as on screen on the website. If we're not face-to-face, then obviously we've got to improvise. What we will also do is we'll look at GCSE results when they come through, and if we've made some mistakes, we'll look at those GCSE results and reward. So very much a sort of first run at it and a second run at it. I'm going to prioritize, or I'm going to look at our own students because they've been with us for the journey. We've got the advantage this year with obviously the predictions, and we will be offering scholarships internally on the strength of what we think that the pupils are going to get in the summer. I'm going to introduce a new award, which is a Cranleigh Award, because sometimes what a year group needs is not an academic or a sportsman or a musician. It just needs somebody who glues the year group together. So we're also looking at that, a Cranleigh Award on that basis. Now, what I would say to anybody who's listening, come and see us, come and talk to us. Obviously very difficult at the moment. We're hoping that's going to open up. But it's really important that you do your research. There are some cracking schools in town. I think we're a bit different. I think our relationships with the UK school change that. And I think the type of staff that we've got here and that relationship with pupils is really important. For those of you who are looking abroad, I'm a product of an expat environment. I was born and brought up in Kenya. I'm just going to say this. One of the beauties of a country like this is we have pupils from a global village. There are multinationals, different people with different religions. And that is one of the first things that I noticed when I came here, was how wonderfully blended and how mature the interaction between people who can talk to each other with different views, etc. They are really very mature in relation to some of the 16-year-olds I've seen in Europe. The second thing is as a community, you'll spend a lot of time with your parents. And again, I think that's really important, that ability for a 16, 17-year-old not to go off in large groups for themselves, but also have to interact with their parents. I think that's very, very important in the maturing towards university and that support structure. So that's really what we're about. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming on board tonight. And in particular, can I thank the sixth form for their input, because that was quite special. So thank you, and hopefully see many of you soon.